with any certainty, but the sight of the stars make me dream.
Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good day, I'm Jayson Padao. For today's video, I'm going to discuss about my reflection on midterm and final topics. Act of Declaration of Philippine Independence. Act of Declaration of Philippine Independence I have learned about to Bautista, translated by Sulpicio Guevara Ambrosio. Rian Saris Bautista is considered to be one of the unsung and honored great Filipinos. Act of Declaration of the Philippine Independence. Corazon Aquino's speech before the joint session of the United States Congress. 1899 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, Malolos Convention. The first Philippine Constitution, the first Republican Constitution in Asia, was drafted and adopted by the First Philippine Republic, which lasted from 1899 to 1901. In 1934, the United States Congress passed the Philippines Independence Act, which set the parameters for the creation of a constitution for the Philippines. Treaty of Peace between the United States of America and the Kingdom of Spain, Treaty of Paris. The President of the United States of America and His Majesty, the King of Great Britain, Ireland and the British dominions beyond the seas, Emperor of India, His Majesty and Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary or Washington, who having communicated to each other their respective full powers, found in good and due from have agreed upon and conclude the following articles. Jose Rizal Retraction of Controversy. I retract with all my heart whatever in my words, writings, publication, and conduct have been contrary to my character as a son of Catholic Church. This was the statement in a document which made many historians and scholars believe that Dr. Jose Rizal retracted. Convention between the United States of America and Great Britain delimiting the boundary between the Philippine Archipelago and the states of North Borneo, 1930. The first was the Philippines of Organic of 1902, which provided for a Philippine Assembly composed of Filipino citizens. The second was the Philippine Autonomy Act of 1916, which included the first pledge of Philippine independence. It was in accordance with the Philippines Independence Act of 1934. The 1935 Constitution was ratified by the Filipino people through a national plebiscite on May 14, 1935. Emilio Aguinaldo's proclamation of surrender to the United States, April 19, 1901 to 23. The dice is all about the Emilio Aguinaldo's proclamation of surrender to the United States, April 19, 1901. The proclamation of Philippine independence was, however, promulgated on August 1, when many towns had already been organized under the rules laid down by the dictatorial government. President William McKinley's prayer. The McKinley's prayer is I walk on the floor of the White House night after night until midnight, and I'm not ashamed to tell you, gentlemen, that went to down on my knees and prayed Almighty God for light and guidance for the light. McKinley was a grateful Christianity, and he is a President of United States of America on November 21, 1899. Finally, he said the answer came to him, that there was nothing left for us to do but to take them all, and to educate the Filipinos and uplift the civilized and Christianize them, and by God's grace to the very best we called by them as our fellow men for whom Christ also died. Commonwealth Act number 34. Pursuant to the provisions of Article V of the Constitution, there shall be held a plebiscite on Friday, April 30, 1937, on the questions of women's suffrage. Every female citizen of Philippines, 21 years of age or over, who shall have been a resident of the Philippines for 1 year of the municipality. Bataan has fallen. The fall of Bataan on April 9, 1942, officials in command of Bataan were Filipino and American forces maintained the main resistance in the war against the Japanese, formally surrendered. The Philippine-American troops on this war, ravaged a blood-stained peninsula, have laid down their arms. With heads bloody but unbowed, they have yielded to superior forces and numbers of the enemy. Historical thinking. Its invention has an effect on how individuals identify with one another and on the expansions or demise of cultures. Everything we use on a daily basis is a result of invention. Additionally, mobile phones are significant inventions because they enable people to access information with a click of button. Post-truth on history. The post-truth on history, some era-defining trends are only noticed years after the fact. Others announce themselves noisily. The announcement, surely the candidate for press release for the year, was picked up enthusiastically by media around the world, and thus unleashed a further torrent in international reportage and comment on post-truth. Jabida was the Yellow's first big news. Jabida was the Yellow first big fake news. It was Antonician, or maybe not, considering his yellow metal monoplygia. The Senator Frances Pangilinan, in a sparsely attended election rally 4 days ago, said, "The following is the first column I wrote 9 years ago on March 20, 2013, demolishing completely this for propaganda myth for the Jabida massacre." Cavite Mutiny. The Cavite Mutiny in 1872, as told in two ways, Jose Fermin Beckrey, as told as a herd. Every story has at least two angles to consider. One historical issue worth visiting: Philippine history in the Cavite Mutiny in 1872. I feel the Cavite Mutiny of 1872 has two extant versions coming from two opposing camps, namely Spanish version and Filipino version.
And on we'll go.
The final reflection is minutes of the proceeding on the national territory of the 1971 Constitutional Convention. The national territory is a portion of space over which a nation-state claims exclusive legitimate control. To better understand, archipelago is a chain or group of islands that is considered as a one integral unit and created straight baseline in the outermost of the archipelago, and including all the territories around, between, and connecting the straight baseline. The role of Islam in the history of the Filipino people. The entry, growth, and development history of Islam in South Asia, particularly in the aspects of culture and civilizations, it's still not fully exposed thoroughly. The second theory states that Islam came from India, the Gujarat and Malabar and also from Bengal, now Bangladesh. The third theory states that Islam came from Persia, which is evidenced by the many traditions and culture of Persian and Scythe with it inter our archipelago reflected in the models of religious ceremonies. History of terrorism in the Philippines. Position Paper Anti-Terrorism Act. The Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020 is a Philippine law whose intent to prevent, prohibited, and penalize terrorism in the Philippines. Whatever act or threat must follow the purpose of such act by its nature and context which to immediate cause fear, force of injures and Philippine government of foreign government. Agreement on peace between the government of the Republic of the Philippines and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. This study analyzes the political strategies pursued by the Moro Islamic Liberation Front or MILF over time to liberate the Bangsamoro homeland and its people from the control of the government of the Republic of the Philippines. The purpose of this study is to analyze the political strategies of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. Report on the cholera epidemic in the Philippines. The role of health literacy has never been more crucial, particularly at the height of pandemic, and annals in history are good reminders. Health outbreaks spread easily in those days and were caused by poor health decisions such as poor hygiene and misinformation. Ramon Magsaysay Rizal Day speech June 19, 1956. On April 3, 1956, Senate Bill number 438 was filed by Jose P. Laurel, the then Senate Committee on Education Chair, and delivered speeches for the proposed legislation. The House Committee of Education approved the bill without amendment on May 2, 1956, and a debate started on May 9, 1956. To move the procedure to the next step, Senator Jose P. Laurel proposed amendments to the bill on May 9, 1956. In particular, he removed the compulsory reading of results, novels, and proposed that results, other works he included in the subject. Address on program of economic recovery. This note provides evidence on the importance of local action to help address the short-term and long-term consequences of the coronavirus or COVID-19 outbreak. Since 1982, the LEAD program has promoted an integrated approach to local employment and economic deployment that brings together government at all levels, the social economy, civil society, and the private sector, including MAS and entrepreneurs. President Duterte inaugural address. Leader, however strong, can succeed at anything of national importance of significance unless he has the support and cooperation of the people he is taught to lead and sworn to serve. That is why we have to listen to the murmurings of the people, feel their pulse, supply their needs, and fortify their faith and trust in us whom they elected to public office. For I see these ills as mere symptoms of our virulent social disease that creeps and cuts into the moral fiber of Philippine society.